going on, GP Universe? The figure I have for you today is somewhat unique and calls for a different kind of introduction. I'd like to introduce you to the Vulcanlog Punished Venom Snake. Now, what this is a new line, which is basically a Revoltech on steroids, I guess I'll say. It's produced by Kaiyodo, the people that brought you Revoltech, in collaboration with Union Creative. And what we have here is a very strange, very different, but really fun toy. And there's a lot of different things about this that are going to make it different than what you normally see out of like a Figma or an SH Figuarts or even other older Revoltechs. And mainly it's just the posing. The posing for this guy is out of control. It moves in different ways than you would normally expect like a high-end Japanese action figure to move. And it can pull off some really unique poses, but not really all of the poses that you would normally expect out of a figure like this. So we're going to go really in depth with what you can do with this guy and the accessories he comes with. So let's get an up-close shot of what we're working with here. So as you guys can see from looking at him like this is pretty much the closest thing to a natural standing pose you can get out of this figure, because it's really not designed to do that. What this figure wants to do is give you some really dynamic and interesting poses, as opposed to some other figures like Figma's, which can pull off the just like natural looking stance real good. But this guy wants to give you something totally different. So let's go through all the different points of articulation we have here. So starting off on the shoulders, you get like a big movement all over the place with it. But as you can see, to achieve this, there is a big cut under the arm. So when posing him, you want to keep in mind what angle you're looking at it and displaying it from so that that cut is less noticeable. So it's kind of rough, but it makes sense for the kind of dynamic pose you can get out of it. Again, definitely not designed for a natural looking thing, really. So you can bend the elbows all the way like that. Very smooth. It uses like pretty much standard Revoltech joints, but it definitely feels a lot more natural to move the arms than on older Revoltech, so there's definitely been some improvement there. When you go over to the robot arm over here, you get lots of movement out of the wrist because they really took advantage of the fact that it's a robot arm, so it's not really constrained by natural hand movement. So you can see that the way the hand moves on his regular hand is a lot more restricted than what you can do with the robot hand. So it's good to see that they went out of their way to kind of give you that extra posability with this hand. It makes it that more accurate to the figure. Moving on, we got the torso and waist over here, and big movement out of the torso cut over here. You can get this guy to move all the way around, so you can do that. Isn't that great? Get him all the way back around. Pretty much no restriction in the movement there. Moving down to the legs, like I showed earlier, this is pretty much as far as they'll go in. It's kind of weird looking, so I don't really recommend posing him just kind of standing there like that. But they can do all kinds of crazy things. You get a full spin out of the lower leg at the knee, which is crazy. Go all the way up, all the way in. You could do so many wild things with this thing. Like it might be like almost a little too much, but what you can do with it is make it look as ridiculous as you want, and that's really fun, and you don't really get that out of a lot of figures. So overall, the posing on this thing was really surprising to me, and I'm super impressed with all of it. Almost forgot to show you weird thing with the head. So there's his head, hi. And as you can see, the head is actually split, so there's a cut here, if you can see it there, that makes it so that you can pop that off, and that's weird looking. There's his head. So the reason they did this is so you can get a little bit extra movement in the face, because this is on a ball peg, and also so that it's kind of hard to see, but there's a little hole, not unlike some of the Snake Figma, that you can stick a little piece in there and you can turn his eye. So that's really neat. You don't really see that too often. So anyway, that pretty much covers everything, and I'm super impressed with the way this guy moves. let's bring it on back and we'll take a look at the accessories and some final thoughts on them. Alright, so here is all the accessories out of the box, and it's a pretty decent amount of stuff. In the game, in Metal Gear Solid 5, Snake has like so many different like weapons and items and other sorts of things that you can get that it would be kind of ridiculous to expect that large of an assortment of accessories. So what you get here is pretty good. So you get the standard assault rifle, which it's a little plain looking. There's not a whole lot of paint being put onto it, but it has a little flashlight on it, which is painted silver. That looks nice. And it's just about as good as you could expect. So nothing too game-changing there. The sniper rifle looks better, mainly because the barrel is painted silver, so that looks really good. And the rest of it's all just like a standard gunmetal kind of look, so it's not too detailed, but it looks good enough. You get a couple different attachments for the sniper rifle to put them in like a crouching, prone pose, so that looks good. Moving on, you got an alternate robot hand, which is also a thing from the game. You can make different colored robot hands. Unfortunately, you only get the one silver hand to go along with it, so if you want to use the alternate arm, you're just pretty much going to have this closed fist on it, so that kind of is what it is. You get a handgun, because you need to have that. Looks pretty much exactly what it is. Nothing really else to expect from there. You get a knife. The knife looks okay. Kind of wish that the blade is a different color than the handle, but it's not really a bright enough silver, so it kind of looks a little weird. Kind of is what it is. For hands, you get 3 hands for his human hand and 3 hands for the robot hand. You get the peace pose because, of course you would. And then you get the cigar and you get the iDroid. And that's pretty much what you get. And it's a solid loadout of accessories. Nothing too mind-blowing, but good for what it is. And that's pretty much all there is to say about this guy. It's definitely a unique, interesting figure that I'm really glad to have been able to mess around with and take a look at. And there's definitely going to be more coming from this line, and I'm really excited to see what's next. But Snake, definitely a good place to start. So that's pretty much it. He's available now. Check him out. Thanks for watching.
No.
Can you put this after the credits of something though? Like right after it, just have this.
Rip.